Hi, I'm Josh. This is Josh is Making Music, and today I wanted to explore a concept that I started with my last Lo-Fi Sunday. That is making music that kind of sounds like it's from a video game, but isn't actually from a video game because I have not been hired to make any video game soundtracks yet, fingers crossed. But anyway, so what I was thinking is that we would go through making a song with the OP-1. It'll be similar to, making a video about how to make a beat, just with the kind of vibe we're going for, maybe a little bit different. What I'm envisioning is the song that you hear leading up to like the appearance of the press A to start or press start to start, whatever, start screen before the main menu. So with that in mind, why don't we jump in? Now, I already have some sounds on here. If I go into my synthesizer sound menu here with the little wavy shape, right here, this is the digital engine, and I've got a patch programmed in that without the effects or LFO or anything just sounds like this. But then you add delay and it sounds like this. Fun. And over here in the sequencer, I'm using the endless sequencer. I have this little pattern programmed in. Which is going to form the core of our little track. So I'm going to go into the tape screen. This is where you actually record the audio. It's this little button right here, and you can see the tape on there. And I am going to, I'm going to turn off the loop, and I am going to record what I just showed. Now, on the OP-1, when you go into the tape screen, it's going to have whatever the last sound you had selected be like your active sound. So even though you can't see that the digital engine patch that I was using, if I press this button, you can still hear that arpeggio. So the way that I'm going to record this is I am going to hold the record button. So you can see I hold it, it turns red, but nothing actually starts happening. And then once I hit a note, it will start recording, which is a really handy little trick to make sure that, especially if you're using a sequencer, you get things like right on the beat. And that'll be enough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and pull out the parts that I want to loop. So the thing about the way the OP-1 works is that I'm recording audio onto here. It's not like a sequencer where it's got, effect information and all that. Because of that, once the audio ends, it just stops playing. So if I'm using an effect like delay, or if I have something that has a really long release envelope, to make it sound like it doesn't just cut off, what I can do instead is I can kind of record two goes of it. So I've got one recording where it's got the delay from the previous, the first recording as part of it. And because of that, now, I just messed it up. Now, if I cut it here, I can lift just the part that has the delays from the previous section. I really wish I knew more of a technical jargon for this, but now if I just lay that down a bunch and I hit play, you might hear a little bit of pop. That is something that maybe there's a way to work around on the OP-1. I have not yet found it, but that is what I was going for. So now it more cleanly kind of loops into the next round. So step two, why don't we do drums? So I hit this little button here to go into the drum screen, and here are drums. Like before, I'm going to use a sequencer. In this case, I'm using the finger sequencer. And the way the finger sequencer works is I program in a bunch of different sequences that are assigned to each of these notes. So like, there's a sequence, there's another one, another one, another one, and so on. And the sequence that I want to use is right here. Very simple, just kick and snare. Before I record, I'm going to do a kind of fade-in / filter sweep using Nitro. So Nitro is a filter, and if I start playing that sequence, you can hear how it sounds when I filter out. If I bring it down all the way, there's really nothing. So what we'll do is we're going to go into our tape menu, our tape screen, and I'm going to hit 2 so I can record track 2. You've got 4 tracks all together. You can overdub like more than one track or more than one recording onto a single track, but I like to not do that until I absolutely have to. So here we are at the beginning. I'm going to hold record and I'll tap. And as it goes, I'll slowly turn up. All right, and there we go. We've got our recording. And like before, I'll then cut pieces so that I can get something that loops cleanly. So now this is our little track. Fun. And now I would like to add a bass to kind of contextualize everything as like what chords I'm envisioning being played. So my bass sound I think is this one. It is not this one. It is not this one. The only problem here is, I'm not very good at telling what's what from just the sound wave being on screen. Here we go. A nice big super synthesizer-y bass recorded from the Moog/Realistic MG1. And yep, so let's jump to track 3. And I'm wanting to have this come in after, like right about where we've got the drums coming in full force. So right about here. So now once I've got it all situated, I hold record, and once I start playing, like before, it'll start recording. And that was all I needed. And now I cut, and I cut some more. Well, now I paste or lift and drop, whatever you'd like to put it. Gosh, it's getting really bright. So now we've got kind of what I would say is like the foundation of our song. That we've got the arps and the drums and the bass. And I like how it's all coming together. So why don't we add some melody? I'm gonna jump to track 4 because that's the only one that we don't have anything on yet. And I'm gonna go back into my synthesizer sounds. Now, in here, I happen to have a recording of the trumpet sound from the Yamaha QY70, which I think has just the right amount of cheesy synthetic quality to it to fit into our little jam we got going. So I'm going to go back to the tape screen, and something I like to do if I kind of like know what sound I want to use but don't know what I want to play is I'll just play my track and start improvising stuff over it. Definitely not a groundbreaking idea, and I'm not like the first person to think of that, but I just wanted to share that so I don't always know exactly what to do right away. Okay, so I liked that. Moving mainly along like a C major arpeggio. So, like before, why don't we just try recording that? This time I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to where the drums and the bass have already been going for a little bit. And after I've gotten there, that's where I'll have the trumpet come in. So at this spot, just over 24 seconds in, this is where I'll record it. So again, you've heard me say this a bunch of times, but I hold record and I'll go, and I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit, and I think I'll go up an octave for it as well. All right. So now all that's left is hold record and Cool. And now, once more, we cut it up and we've got our loop. So before we're like all done, one last detail I should add is that on the tape screen, you can add like a sort of a global effect. I think they refer to it as a master effect. And I usually have the spring effect on it, the reverb. I turn it down. Oh, I turn it down pretty low. I just like it because it gives a little bit more. I think it fills in some of the space in the sound a little bit more, in case things sounded a little more reverby than you might have expected. But I think with that, why don't we take a listen to what we've made? I mean, I know you've already heard it a few times as we've been going through it. But yeah, and thank you so much for hanging out. Like I mentioned, I'm working on a musical project like this, still very much in the works, so expect to hear more about it in the future, but it might be a little while. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, hitting subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. I don't think I'm an especially skilled person when it comes to YouTube growth because I always forget to say that until the end. But yeah, all right. Thanks so much. Bye.